Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Tease Time. I'm TJ. Thank you for tuning in. If today is your first time checking out the videos, I've been building this van, aka Percy the van, for a little bit over a couple years now. But today we're getting into fitting our countertops. I need to get this stuff figured out. With this right here. I'm using a butcher block. So I'm gonna have butcher block countertops. They're pretty heavy. So I'm gonna bring them outside. I'm gonna get stuff cut down. But the main thing we have to focus on getting fitted is for our oven that's right here. Don't mind the clutter. It's just like space is kind of rare right now, so it's just kind of a shuffle game at this point. But we need to get this fitted right here, so we have to make sure we get the cutout for the countertop like so. And then also I have a sink right here. It's stainless steel. It's gonna live over here. I'm thinking something like so. So I need to figure out, do I want to like flush mount that, or is it like a top mount, or do I want to do like an under mount? I'm leaning towards top mount, just for ease, and then also with the butcher block, because you have to use conditioner, stuff like that, just to kind of protect it from like moisture and stuff like that. If it sits on top, there's probably less wood exposed that I need to like seal and stay on top of. But definitely, like if I do undermount, it will add 1 3/4 inch depth to the sink, so actually it'll raise, so you can actually see it. It'll actually like raise like how much you have, about like yay. So still trying to figure out if I want to do that, because like if I do the like the undermount, that cut needs to be like perfect. Nice and smooth and clean, and I do have a router, so if I do attempt to do that, we can kind of make sure, or we can make sure that we get our edges situated. But right now I need to get all of this outside, and yeah, we're gonna get this going right now. So let me drag this stuff out just to make cutting easier. And yeah, we're gonna drag it outside. We're gonna get stuff lined up. I'm gonna get some measurements. We're gonna get stuff cut. And also, make sure you have a fresh blade. This is my first time cutting butcher block, but I went ahead and got a new blade. It's a 40 tooth, just to make sure like the cut is as clean as possible. Butcher block is not cheap, so you don't want to like skimp. If you paid the money for the butcher block, might as well get like a good blade to cut it, just to make sure like it's clean. And then like for all my cuts that I will do will be facing like on the wall side. Like the edges, like I'm gonna leave that with the clean side that's already been cut by the butcher block. Or the butcher block didn't cut it, but whoever cut the butcher block has cleaner edges. So all my cut sides will be facing the wall, and the same on this side, cut sides will be facing the wall. So that way if they do get like a little hot and they do like burn a little bit, you won't be able to see that. So that's my thought process on that. So drag out time, and I'm going to show you my setup once I get everything out there. All right, so this is the setup. The good side is up top right now, just so I can measure to see where to cut for the stove, because there are some knots. So cut accordingly to make sure you get like the best exposure of your butcher block. So I'm gonna try to have my cut like right here. This is gonna be the biggest cut. So off of that, so from the wall over about 34 1/4, between 34 1/4 and 54 1/4. So we got 75. Let's just draw a quick little picture. All right, so for our countertop, we need 75 total lengthwise. For the cut openings from the wall, 34 inches, and then from there also 54 1/4 to get our cuts where we need for our stove. And then for our, we'll call this, we have length, let's say our width wise, we need 18.5 for this cut line right here for the stove. So right now we need to focus on where to make our cuts and to use the cleanest wood to be exposed. Like if you have any like major knots or anything like that, you want those to hopefully fall in where you have to cut out anyway. And then we also will have to figure out our back cut right here, but we could do that once we have the counter on top of the framework right here, so we could just actually mark it in place. But we need to cut for that also, just to clear this corner right here so that's smooth. But let's go outside and get this lined up and matched where exactly we want our cut to be. All right, in order to get like those knots, I have to cut from the side I don't want to. I want to cut like on the wall side. I'm gonna cut on away from the wall side on this side, just because I want to get rid of this knot and that knot right there. So when those are gone, like we'll have like a couple like little, you know, wood is natural, it has its own personality. But yeah, so I'm gonna aim to get rid of that one and that one. And the reason why we're using this side versus this side, because we have like that right there on the bottom, like that right there. So this is the not so pretty side, a couple imperfections. So the nicer side is this side right here. So I definitely want this side, but just to get rid of that and that, I have to cut on this side. And this side is going to be the side that's away from the wall, like it'll be exposed. So like I need to make sure the cut gets nice and clean. So like I said, fresh blade. And then also if you're gonna cut like on the top, use masking tape, just so you don't mark up like the butcher block stuff. So I need some of this right there, especially like if I end up using like the jigsaw, just to kind of get in here, get like these back corners cut out. I'm gonna use the jigsaw. So use masking tape so you don't mark it up, because that's the good side. So you want to keep the good side as good as possible. So I'm gonna tape up, measure, and yeah, and we should be good on that to get that in here. But yeah, take your time, measure, make sure you get it right. Take your time, measure, and we're going for 75 inches. So if the first cut is a little janky, I could go a little shorter. I just wanted to have like an even like 1 inch hang all the way around. So that's what I'm going for. So that's why we're going for the 75. And yeah, so tape, measure, mark, and I'm gonna get my saw blade set up and then we're gonna cut. So it's a nice clean cut, nice fresh blade, no jagged edges, no burn. Everything is smooth, so the first cut is good. So we have to keep on going like that. And then as you can see, we got an extra piece. I'm gonna try to do my best to try to like save these and do something with them. Like I do have to make like a countertop for the Logan, the TV tray thing. So we have that also. But I'm just gonna keep on going. And also, like when you do set up, make sure your blade is depth is set correctly. My sticker now is probably about like a little under like 1/4 of an inch. But you just want to make sure you don't have to do double passes. You want one nice good cut, which we have right here. and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna double check these measurements once again before I get into this. So we had our 75, so that's cool right there. But I just want to double check because there's no rewind once you start cutting. So double check. But let's keep going. All right, a good thing that I rechecked my measurements. I actually needed to add a 1/4 of an inch right here. That's what this line is. So yeah, double measure. So right now I'm gonna take the drill. I'm gonna have some starter holes right here. Just cover the back one. I'm gonna definitely have to use the jigsaw. But the only thing with the jigsaw, like the blade isn't quite long enough. The one that I have, I need to go check and see if I can find a longer one. But I'm gonna use that to like scroll like the back line right here, and also just to connect when I get the circular saw going through right there. So that's where we're at. All right, so this is what we have so far. This is our cutout for our stove right here, and right now we're gonna do the test fit just so I can figure out where the line needs to be right here for that wall, because there's like an inch and a half that comes out. So I'm gonna line it up to the wall, and then I'm gonna mark it, and then we're gonna cut it. So right now I'm gonna go inside, test fit, double check your measurements, cross your fingers, and then cut. But right now we're just gonna go inside. That's my pants ripped. So the good part about everything not being mounted down, you still could adjust to get like the center for the stove with the exhaust fan. So yes, but right now we need to get this line. So we just need to get like this line right here situated. So I'm gonna mark a little bit over from that, so we have like a little bit of wiggle room. And I just need to come out from the wall. I believe that's like an inch. If we do, what's that, 1 1/8. Hold on. Definitely gonna need like a backsplash to clean up the angle. The walls aren't perfectly square. The counter. This might be a cardboard cut. Use cardboard first. Use cardboard first to use to get your measurements and stuff, so you don't waste your butcher block. Cardboard is cheap, it's free, it comes when you order things, so use cardboard. But if I want to get this angle like just right, use cardboard, so that way I can kind of take in consideration like the wall not being completely flat, or just my mishaps of building stuff. So cardboard. So let me get that figured out, and then we'll get to cutting that and retest fitting. So to come. All right, this line right here is for that back corner where that 90 is. As you can see, like this is going to be 1 inch, and this is going to be about like 1/4 to like 5/16 shorter than 1 inch, just so we get that angle so it sits flush against the wall, so you don't see any like gaps. But that's what you need to probably just double check with like cardboard before you're cut if you're not sure. But like I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna send it, and if need be, well, there's not gonna be a need be, we're gonna get this done. But like that's 1 inch, and that's just shorter because this side had the bigger gap. So like if you did 1 inch, it would just like make that gap a little bigger. So yeah, so just double check your measurements, double check, especially when you cut your cutting board. You don't want to mess this up. But like we're gonna go get this cut, and then we're gonna retest fit again, and it should be good. And then we could go work on the countertop for our sink area. So that's coming. All right, so this is the countertop. It's in there. You see we have little gaps, nothing crazy. Like once everything is in there and fixed, and I plan on doing like a little like some tile type backsplash, like the stuff you stick to the wall, like going around. So like that will cover up like if there's like any mini gaps. So all that's cool within spec. So like nothing crazy. And even like right here. So all of that is good. And even for our opening, like this bottom piece can still slide. I still need to adjust a little bit. But yeah, the opening is good. Right now I'm going to test fit for our countertops. Not our counter. We are doing that right now. I'm going to test the stove to see if it fits in there how it should. And then once that is good, we can call this countertop cut and it's aligned. And then we can start going on the other one over there. But yeah, let me get this going. All right, so all the gaps are good. Everything sits how it should. And even like right here where I was worried about, that fits lovely. And then like I said, we still have room to adjust. Nothing's bolted down, but like when I do tighten like the cabinet to the wall, like it'll pull everything in a little more also. So right now, this is done. We're gonna call this good on that one. And then we're gonna move over to this one. So right now we're gonna end up probably cutting from like right here-ish, somewhere like that, down. So this is gonna be extra space. So this is about to get a lot lighter also, which is cool. And then we can also lighten the countertops a little bit to save weight. I do have a scale. I'm gonna pull out the scale, and I have this right here. It's called a Forstner bit. And what I plan on doing like this is like taking it and doing like a bunch of holes to hollow out this on the bottom, just to save a little weight. But in order to do that, I need to figure out where all the mounting locations are, draw a line, and then just make sure I avoid those mounting locations, because I plan on using pocket holes like on the side of the cabinet, but like on the inside to secure the countertop to the cabinet itself. But like this would just be able to like lighten the load a little bit. I plan on trying to take at least, since this is what is 1.75 inches, at least maybe like 3/4 to 1 inch out, and just kind of like little places like all along like the bottom. But you'll see, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just add that into this video, since I do have to prep all these, since you're supposed to seal within the first 48 hours of taking like the wrap off, even though like some of my wrap was missing. But like the instructions say to seal within 48 hours, so I'm gonna just get all of this stuff situated now, and so we can get stuff sealed up. But let me get that cut for the sink. And the sink, I'm thinking top mount would definitely be easier on preserving the butcher block, and also on me making sure, because like with that hole, it needs to be perfect. There's no like leeway with that. Like that needs to be a perfect, and like I don't even think I have the tools to do that. So like I'm not even gonna give myself a headache and attempt to do that, because that'll be like a lot of just sanding and grinding and just annoyance for me. Like I'm not equipped with that. These are the first countertops that I've done. Like if I had like the proper tools, I could probably do that, but like I believe like with the tools I have, you got to know your limitations. The tools that I have, I don't believe can make that look right. So the best bet for me is to make it a top mount counter or sink for me. For you, you might have better skill and better tools, but like I know my limitation for what I got right now, and I just don't want to ruin my countertops, and I don't want it to look janky. So the cleanest way that I can do it is make it a top mount and make it life easier for me. But yeah, let me get to cutting this. I'm gonna get this outside. We're gonna get this cut, and the cut for this should be a little easier. It's somewhat like of a square for that. The only difficulty would just making my hole for the sink. So that's the only difficulty that I really will have with that. But like it's a straight cut, and a hole for the sink. But yeah. All right, so here's a test fit for the sink countertop right here. It's in there, it's good. It comes right to the edge where I want it. Got like an inch overhang right there, so we're good. So right now we just got to figure out the placement for our sink. All right, so this is what I'm thinking for the sink. Imagine this is the top. That's where it's gonna sit on the counter. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trace the outline of this, and then I'm gonna subtract about like a half an inch. We're gonna take off like a half, or even like 3/4. If I take off about like 3/4 from the trace, it should sit in there nice and snug and still have like a little room to maneuver to get it like adjusted just right. But I want this lip to sit an inch off. And then we also do have our splash guards that are going to go up around the counter, so there's room for that. That's about 3/4. So that's pretty much like a finger tip right there, going all the way around. So there'll be room for that just to catch splash, so I don't want water like running like around the edges and behind. So that's why I'm encapsulating the countertop with the splash guard. It's more butcher block, it's birch. So that's just going to go all the way around. Just protect even like over here, just so like it doesn't run onto the couch. If anything, you just have to worry about like the front spill. But with the water being all the way on this edge, there's enough time to catch it and stop it before it goes over here and ends up dripping like on the cushion. So that's the game plan. And the countertop, or not the countertop, but the sink, it does come with like this outline right here. This is like if you're going to do your undermount, like so. So that's your sink right there, and then it goes up like that. And it comes with hardware that's at the bottom, and I order extra hardware because like I was still in the air whether I wanted to do like the undermount or the top mount, but I'm going the top mount. So I'm just pretty much eyeballing this. I'm gonna trace it to subtract that that line, just go all the way around, and then I'm gonna plan on using the jigsaw to go around, do like a couple drill holes, and then just kind of go around and see how that goes. Hopefully it should go smoothly, but that's what we're doing right now. So I'm gonna trace, and you'll see me hacking away at this thing. So yeah. All right, so we're playing a game of what if I were to try to do a undermount sink for the cutout. I'm gonna use my router. I haven't used this before. So this is the setup right here. We have our outline. We have my bit in there already, the plunger style router. So I plan on trying to go slowly enough and work my way down in layers as I go. I'm just gonna go deeper and deeper as I go. I have it set up with like the stop screw, so it only could go to a certain depth. But we're just gonna see how smooth I could get this. We're still gonna do our top mount, but like if I were to ever do another one, will I be able to do it? So that's where I'm at right now. I'm gonna get this plugged in and we're gonna get going. Cross your fingers. All right, so this is the best I could get with the router. So I knew my limitations. Like I said, like I tried to get it like as smooth as possible, like if I was gonna do like an undermount. So for me to get that just right would take a lot of work. I wasn't sure that I could, but like I just was being realistic that I wouldn't be able to get that like just right. So I'm pleased with this opening right now. We just have to do our test fit for our sink to see if it fits in there. That should be good. And then if that fits, which it should, we're gonna get on to lighting lightening the countertops up by taking chunks off of the bottom. So we're gonna get the scale out, we're gonna weigh the counters, we're gonna do like a before and after, show you what I'm doing. But yeah. All right, so the fit is good for the top mount, so we're good. We're gonna move on to getting these counters down a little bit of weight. They are a little hefty. Where did I put that bit? All right, so this is what I'm gonna use. It's a Fastener bit. I'm gonna use this to make chunks, to take chunks out of the countertops, just to lighten it up. The countertops are 1 3/4, so I plan on taking at least, let's go for like 3/4 worth of depth out of the counters. I'm just gonna mark and just do like a bunch of holes. So we're doing like a bunch of jumbo pocket holes, if you will, just to get rid of some of the weight. We're gonna see if we can get them down a little bit, and I'm gonna see what the beginning, the start weight, and the end weight. So I don't know if you want to make some guesses down below before we get there. Go ahead. If not, you'll see at the end. But yeah, stay tuned. Let me get stuff set up, get the scale out. We're gonna do both countertops for the sink and for this countertop also. We're gonna get this situated. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, for the first weight, we're gonna do our main stove area, kitchen area, countertop. We're gonna get the weight right now. I have my scale set up outside. It's set to 0. So let me grab that and throw it on so we can see. That's 56. So that's 56 on that one. And then for the sink area countertop, we're about to grab that right now. And about 36. So we have 56 and 36. This is the 36 piece. Right here I marked lines like if I had to make pocket holes on the cabin itself to drill into. So we're going to stay away from these lines, probably give us even a little more extra space, and go like further in from those just to be sure that we have something to secure it to. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this bit right here and just make a bunch of random pocket holes in this just to kind of take some of the weight out. Let's see if it's worth the effort. So yeah, we're gonna get this set up, start taking out wood, and then we're gonna do a after weight also. So we got 56 and 36. We're gonna do a bunch of those. I'm not gonna record me doing all of them, so you saw what I'm doing. I'm gonna continue that process for the bottom of all the countertops, just to see how much weight we could shave off to make these a little lighter. So yeah. All right, so let's see if this was worth the effort. So these are the holes I was talking about. A bunch of these to lighten this. This was 36 before we started. It definitely takes like a lot of effort, so we're going to see if it's worth to do it on the next counter. If not, because even like the bit I'm using is getting burnt up, and even the router I'm using is overheating, getting a little hot. Like in between, I was cutting up like this stuff, all the spare butcher blocks, just so I could do something with it, or even just make it easier to move. So I cut all those pieces down. So let's see what this weighs out. It was 36 before. Okay, so about 2 pounds. Definitely not worth it. Like how I'm doing it, like you could remove bigger chunks to get rid of like the weight, but for me, I don't think like the 2 pounds, or even on the other one, it's probably gonna be about 4 pounds, isn't quite worth it. So if need be, I'll go on a diet if I want to save some weight, because just for like time and effort to get those 2 pounds definitely isn't worth it for me. So I'm gonna continue. I have to sand down. We're gonna do is I believe it's 80, 120, and 220 grit for the final sand before I start applying like the oil. But like everything is cut, everything is fitted, everything, well, not everything. I got to do the backsplash still, but that should be pretty simple. But yeah, everything is ready to be sanded and sealed. So that's coming up right now. All right, so this is where we're at right now for our sanding. I have like some supplies set up. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna sand. I got 80, 120, and 220 grit. This is for like your high rough edges. This is just to kind of like smooth, and like this will be finishing a 220. So like all the sides that like I ended up cutting, like if you could see like inside, like right in here, like we're gonna make sure like if you want to use like 180, not 180, but 80 grit to kind of get like the high spots if you need to. But like this won't be exposed, so like I don't really care too much about like that. But like if you do on the end down here, like if it's exposed, like make sure you get that smooth. And for all like your high edges, like smooth these out so they're just not so rough and pointed. Kind of save a shin or elbow or something from making contact. But for other supplies that we have cutting board oil, and then a butcher block conditioner. So this is first. This is to prime the wood. This says to use between like 3 to 4 coats. It says for surfaces over 1.5 thick, this is 1 3/4, so it's thick. Apply 3 to 4 coats, so we need 3 to 4. Let stand for at least an hour, or if possible overnight. Yeah, so we're gonna see. Well, it says, well, for like thinner stuff, it says like on wooden bowls or utensils, soak for at least like 20 minutes, and then wipe away, then recoat. So we're gonna try to do our best to follow these instructions. We're gonna see how that goes. And then after this is primed, this is the conditioner that goes on top. The directions on this suggest that you use this first and then go with this. And the instructions are for application are about the same for about an hour or overnight, like between, especially like if it's thicker than 1.5. So it's just going to take some time. So I'm going to do some sanding, get stuff situated, and I'm going to show you applying like some of it, how to do it, but like I'm not going to show you like every single piece. Like I'm going to just show you like a couple stages, like sanding, do a couple, and then you'll see like finished products, just because it's so time, I don't know, time absorbing. Let's say that. So yeah, so stay tuned. Yeah, that feels good. I'm just doing the edge just to kind of show you, to demonstrate. Just doing the edges just to show and demonstrate just how I'm gonna do like the rest of the counter. The 80 for the high parts, the 120 to smooth that down before you get your final 220, and then it should be good to stain or seal with oil or a polyurethane, or so many options. Options are endless. That's up to you. But I just wanted to show you that. So I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna do the rest of the boards like this, and then we'll get to oiling. So yeah, we're coming. All right, and after you have everything sanded, use a tack cloth to get all the dust. You will see dust like so, like that. So I just wipe until you don't see the dust anymore, and that way your oil has something to adhere to. So tack cloth, oil, oil wipe, oil wipe, oil wipe, oil wipe, oil wipe for hours. So you're not gonna get the joy of seeing that, but it's gonna happen. So just make sure you get this so you have something is a good flat surface to work with. So yeah. Okay, so we have it sanded, we have it cleaned up with the tack cloth, but before I did the tack cloth, we used a shop vac to blow off the dust. But you just want to get it as dust free as possible. And apply your oil. I'm using rags, lint free. This is for paint and cleaning, natural fibers, lint free was an important thing I looked at, and solvent resistant, and just something that was gonna be okay with anything. So on here it actually says like oil, water, paint, and solvent, so it should be good. And then like I said, this goes on first, and then this goes on. So it's not going like put a coat on this, then a coat of this, and a coat of this. You do all your coats of this first, and then this comes after for the last part. So to apply, take your little seal. Does it say to shake? No. Nothing about shaking, so don't shake. Shake, shake, shake. And then, and mind you, as you can see, it does flow a little bit, so just be mindful not to go crazy. I do have cardboard down so it doesn't like mess up the cabinets, because I do have to paint still. And I just don't want the oil to interfere with like the paint adherence. So keep that in mind if you're doing it inside, and it's a little cleaner in here versus outside. So let's go a little something like so. And I guess less is more. We can always add more, but especially for like the first passes, just to kind of see how it goes, how it flows. And actually like makes it not so ashy. If that makes sense, if that's a technical term. Ashy wood versus not so ashy wood. That looks real nice. But like we haven't even like got in there, and then the oil into nooks and crannies. And I'm doing the bottom first. This is like a good thing for like to test to see how it goes, because like this won't be seen like once it's done and it's installed. You want to make sure you get a nice coat, even coats. Like I have some spots I missed. I'm adding a little bit just to balance things out. And don't forget your sides. And if you see over here, like that's why you probably want cardboard down. Like I got a little bit that went over, so like that saved it versus going onto the cabinets themselves. Yeah, that looks real good. Nice even coats. And I'm using the rag and pouring it on just because you can't really pour on like a vertical surface. So yeah, that makes life a lot easier. And I think you get what I'm doing and what I'm going for right now. So I'm gonna continue this. This is about like 3 to 4 more coats, so we need 3 more or 2 more. We'll see how it goes. And then after this, we're gonna move on to the butcher block conditioner. And also, since you are using oil, like it's food grade, so you don't have to worry about getting on your skin. But if you don't want it like on your hands, use some gloves. Like I have it on. If anything, it's just gonna make me a little less ashy too. So there's that. But let me keep going. We're gonna oil, and then I just have like, this is what I have set up right now. So like we have like all the butcher blocks right here. I cut these down just to make life easier to move. But like this is the extra, and this is gonna end up being my modern day TV tray, as I just got oil on it. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, this is a setup. I'm gonna get going. I'm not gonna record like all of this, but just this is the process I'm doing for my countertops. It's very tedious, but just make sure you don't get like oil on the stuff that you still need to paint, or even glue, because the oil is gonna keep you from having to be able to do that. So yeah, take your time. All right, so this is about 3 coats in. So that's after, and this is what it looked like before. So before, after, before. So it came out nice. I'm liking how it's coming out. Like, I'm liking a deeper tone. But right now, this is going to be for our sink side right now. So this is the front of the cabinet on this side. This is the rear. This is the backsplash. I decided not to do the backsplash on this edge, the edge that will sit like on this side. Simply because I have to like drill up through it, and then it might be more prone for like somebody to actually like break it off, like if they're sitting down, they try to use it to get up. So I'd rather not even have that there, so just get rid of that variable altogether. But right now I just need to attach this. I'm using wood glue. You want to use wood glue if you are attaching or building anything before you oil, because the oil will keep the glue from actually adhering, like I said before, or maybe not, don't know. But anyways, make sure you glue before you oil. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to get this assembled, and then we're going to continue on with the oiling of the butcher blocks. And I still have to do all of those also. But I wanted to just start with the most important parts. These are the important counters that I need to worry about. That's just kind of like extra. Not this one. That's going to be our modern day TV tray. But just because I didn't know how much oil it would actually use, so I decided to just let me start with the stuff that I'm going to actually need. So I have plenty. I bought extra like oil and everything, so we're good to go. So let me get this assembled and let me continue oiling, and yeah. All right, so this is where we are so far. We have the butcher boards or butcher blocks seasoned. That's what it is when you put the oil on. You do seasoning. Excuse the noise from the air conditioner. A little quieter just for a little bit. So all the butcher blocks are oiled, they're seasoned is what they call it. So the seasoning is just the prep for us to put the conditioner on after the oil. This is what adds the water resistance to the countertops. There's beeswax and carnauba oil or carnauba wax to help rejuvenate the wood and prevent drying and cracking, and add the water resistance. And the instructions are exactly the same as the oil. Like it suggests 3 to 4 coats, apply to all sides and even. But yeah, this is what we look right now when it's oiled. And then for the oil or the conditioner, it says to shake up a little bit. I'm going to just throw some on this one so you can see. And the application is just somewhat similar to the oil, but it's just going to be thicker. So you don't probably have to worry about it slinging off so much. Kind of looks like honey. There's beeswax, so. Actually makes it gloss a little better. Yeah. Yeah, see? Got a nice little shine, and just hit all the sides with it. So we have about 3 coats on the regular butcher blocks, and for like the actual countertops, I have 4 coats for the top layer, just so I can just make sure like they're well protected from like moisture. So like definitely gonna have more layers on top of the counter versus the bottom, and versus like the other like regular like butcher blocks that I have back there. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep on conditioning. I'm gonna condition, get this stuff situated. I'm not gonna bore you with that, but we might actually be able to close this video out right now, because like you just saw is what I'm going to continue with. So this is the gist of this video. We do have, like, as you can see over here, the countertops with the backsplash, all that stuff is situated. So we're done with that. Everything's assembled. We have our hole cut for our sink. We have our hole cut for our oven right here. Is all done. So it's just a matter of just finishing this stuff up and assembling. So the main purpose of this video is just to show you like the countertops, cutting the openings for all our appliances and stuff like that. And that's it. So right now it's just a matter of just protecting them for longevity. So with that being said, until next Wednesday. So until next Wednesday, you don't know until you try. This has all been new, so try new things. I'll see you next Wednesday. Peace. TJ.